What, when I release 5.5, what do you guys think? Huh? You think like recap, like Attack on Titan did? No. This episode has nothing to do with the series as a whole. This episode is just a little add-on, I guess you could say, before we go to the finale. Here we have for you all today the behind the scenes of LOALC Remastered. Enjoy. In this little episode, I'll go over what the process is of actually making the episodes and where I get a lot of the inspiration from for the show. So let's see how this goes. Each episode I do starts with a simple storyboard. Now, when it comes to storyboarding, it's not the worst thing in the world. I normally think of the idea relatively soon, and then normally it flows right into the next episode. So I normally get the idea of what the next episode will be right during production of the previous episode. So it really works out in the end. Normally setting up starts out by me putting out one of those Lego plates that you put all your figures and stuff on, and actually figuring out the right location for it, being that I'm gonna have to move it a bunch of times, and then taking this stuff called Fun Tack and sticking it to my table so it doesn't move accidentally, and then I'd start filming all over again, because that sucks when that happens. But it has happened before, and it is very annoying. Next would actually be assembling what's going to be on the set. So most of the time it's the same prop house that I used. This is a main set piece throughout the show. It's supposed to show like that the community came together and built all this stuff. You saw that in episode 2, I'm pretty sure, or episode 3, and how they actually started getting together and putting this house together, and all these different places together. And this is just the main one that they're normally in. This is Mega's house, I guess you could say, in the Lego realm. And then Tony has his own, as seen in episode 5. He has his, which is more silver and stuff. Still, if you couldn't tell, obviously the same set. I do use the same set most of the time, just with different parts to make it different looking. But that's just how it is with me, and it's supposed to be if you were to walk outside this house, there will be more houses, but I don't have that many, so I normally mess up and you just see the one house on my desk and it doesn't look right. And then it comes to actually setting up the set. So on this house, on this specific one, there isn't a wall, so you can film inside it. This is the usual one I'm using. So this is for episode 5, actually, this little video clip. And so I have, being that I want it to look like the Venbot, which is what I nicknamed him, to be there. He's in the camera's perspective looking up to me, who'll be in there in a minute. But I thought that was a cool trick that you can do with these guys. And I also fun tacked the house. And normally I have the extra wall in with this house, and if I ever do need it for that part of the house, or if I want to make it look like it's in a different section, not near the door there is there, I can just take this piece and put it in and make it look like it's a different area of the house. So that works. I'll normally pick out the characters and the props I'll need for the episode during right after storyboarding. Really, I'll set up how many key people I'll need and who are key characters for this episode that I'll need. So here you'll see I have the basically most of the main cast for this episode, and the Mark II armor there in the back is still pretty awesome, I think. I guess the show takes a lot of different scene inspirations from other movies that I'm very fond of, mainly Marvel superhero movies. I got a lot of inspiration from, but the show itself as a whole, a big part of it is actually influenced from one of my favorite episodes of Fairly Odd Parents. Off of is Wishology, which was my favorite part of that whole show. Don't ask why. I just drew inspiration from it. They're not the same in any bit. You'll see why if you've watched it. You can definitely see the similarities, the robots and the evil villain who's dark and scary. If you've watched Mythology, you'll see why in episode 6, where it ties that it seems pretty similar, but it's not like the exact same thing, obviously. Aside from that, though, one of my favorite things to do with this show is make the fight scenes, and all of those fight scenes are made by judging them off of other fight scenes. Like I was saying before, I base them off of a lot of Marvel fight scenes. I'm a big Marvel superhero fan. I'm a big fan of the MCU. But it's not only that though. I've done a few DC ones. The first one I did, where it was based off of one, was episode 3, which was the Sonic fight. That was based off of the fight between Flash and Arrow from the show Flash. Which here's a side by side of that. Which is the Venbot versus Mega, was based off of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Was based off the boat fight scene between him and like one of the main thugs, I guess you could say. And lastly, my favorite one so far would have to be, well, I mean, not my favorite. My favorite's the one that's not out yet, but episode 6 fight scenes, man, they're great. You guys are gonna love them. But episode 5 has the fight scene between the Gerbot, which is the red robot. I never actually stated that in episode 5, but the red robot who is Gerbot. If you can't tell that little thing, Venbot, Gerbot. But that's what those two are named. But that fight scene draws inspiration from one of my favorite fight scenes of all time, which is Iron Man 2, Rhodey versus Tony. Like, that scene, I loved it so much. So here's a side-by-side of that. Then it's all in editing, editing comes, and that takes the longest. I actually didn't get any shots of me editing, but it's one of my favorite parts because you just suddenly see the whole entire episode just come together. It's really cool. Here's some fun facts. Venger was originally inspired by a character I'd created a long time ago, and he went by the name of Parallax. He was actually never fully made anything off of, but he was a character that I had just come up with and I really enjoyed. I actually did make a Lego of him. He's very different, but at the same time shows many similarities to Venger. So I consider this a rough draft version of Venger. In the same storyline as this guy, there was also a protagonist who was the original wearer of my armor that I created. That armor was originally created for him, but then I realized I didn't really like the backstory I had made behind him, and decided, hey, it would be good to use for this. So I changed up the design a bit, and this became the Mega Armor. On top of that, the guy who wore this suit originally had a robot companion dog who had cybernetic parts. Huh. The best part about that is that's somewhat how I got some inspiration for Virus with the some robotic parts. But I mean, the most obvious inspiration for Virus was the arms obviously Dr. Octopus there. Come on, guys. Except, his arms make portals. Another one I find very funny was the creation of Mega Segaster 331. So, back in December, me and another YouTuber had created an inside joke around this figure that we had found. I was going through the bag of figures as I was talking to him, and we suddenly found this, and it's like, we got it. So this is how the antagonist of that episode came to be, and how he was actually based off something, or should I say someone, but that is our own personal inside joke there. Yeah. Maybe he'll return in the future. Another fun fact, I originally planned for Mr. O to be in the series, but I couldn't get a hold of him. So he was unfortunately, for the series, I'm not saying anything. And then in the end, there's the people that actually enjoy the show a lot. And that makes me feel really happy that a lot of people enjoy the show. There are a few different things that I must say about doing LOALC that I'm going to address now, being that this is semi-final. Would you guys like a Season 2 after Life of a Lego Customizer Part 2 happens? It's something I've thought about. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I'll leave that up to you guys, though. Probably be the same thing, really. The 6 episodes, if not more, hopefully. But it was hard to get the 6 episodes out, and I have to actually start filming Life of Lego Customizer Part 2 pretty soon, or else nothing's going to get done if I want to get it done by the end of the summer. I'm not going to say anything more on Life of Lego Customizer Part 2, because you'll know basically where we're leaving off at the end of Episode 6 coming up. So I hope you guys enjoy that. But please enjoy this little preview of Episode 6. And that's it for this little video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this little semi-final episode of just the process of how this show is created. And I'll see you all for Episode 6. And then a showcase afterwards. Okay, bye.